Hello students, the topic for today is applied fields of psychology. This is a lengthy topic. It has lots of branches, so we will be covering it in two parts. Today I will be covering 5 applied fields of psychology that are important. They are clinical psychology, counseling psychology, industrial organizational psychology, environmental psychology and community psychology. Let's begin with the definition of applied psychology. I am going to read it. Applied psychology is the use of psychological methods and findings of scientific technology to solve practical problems of human and animal behaviors and experience. In other words, applied psychology is the systematic application and use of psychological principles, theories, methods to the life in general. You will be better able to understand it with the help of an example. Let's take the example of industrial organizational psychology. So what they do? They prepare its students to become real life problem solvers of organization. They help them efficiently recruit employees, help them how to resolve conflicts within the organization, develop and organize HR policies. Thus they become very productive to the organization and thus increases the profitability of the organization. In this way, this field becomes applied in nature. So the first field is clinical psychology. Its definition: clinical psychology is an integration of science, theory and clinical knowledge for the purpose of understanding, preventing and relieving psychologically based distress or dysfunction and to promote subjective well-being and personal development. Now don't get confused with this big definition. I am trying to explain it in a simple way. See, we are living in a competitive world. There is lot of pressure these days. So sometimes this pressure takes a toll on us. So we have some off days when we tend to feel disinterested in almost all the activities. We remain sad and gloomy. There is no energy. We have poor appetite. So symptoms like this, if they appear for a shorter period of time, it is normal. But these symptoms, if persist, then it indicates serious mental disorders. So here comes the role of clinical psychology. This is a very important field because it deals with severe mental disorders. Now what they do? Clinical psychologists, they are licensed professionals who give direct services to its patients. Now, when a client or patient approach them, first of all, they administer and interpret certain psychological tests such as personality tests or cognitive tests. Then they diagnose whether a patient is having certain existing or potential disorder. Then they create treatment plan for the patient and in last they conduct psychotherapy. This is how they work. So this is the field of clinical psychology. So the important thing to understand in this field is they deal with serious mental disorders such as schizophrenia, depression or anxiety disorders. Next field is counseling psychology. Let's read its definition. Counseling psychology covers mild with fewer serious psychological problems. It focuses on emotional, social, physical issues that arise from typical life stressors. Okay, first of all we need to understand what is counseling. Counseling is the process of assisting and guiding clients, especially by a trained person, on a professional basis to resolve personal, social or psychological problems. This is what we mean by counseling. Now let's try to understand this counseling psychology. Example: suppose a person is working in an organization, everything is going well in his life. Suddenly he is fired. He is being thrown out of his job. He remains jobless for a couple of months. Then he moves to another organization, but there he is not accepted. The behavior of his colleagues is not appropriate. He is not able to handle the pressures of the job over there. So there comes the adjustment problem. He is not able to adjust to the demands of the situation. So problems like this, such as adjustment problem, personal problems, for example marital problems, career related problems, becomes the field of counseling psychology. The important thing to understand is counseling psychology deals with mild psychological problems, but clinical psychology deals with severe problems such as depression. This is the basic difference between counseling psychology and clinical psychology. Next is industrial organizational psychology. Its definition: it is characterized by the scientific study of human behavior in organization and the workplace. It uses psychological principles and research methods to solve problems in the workplace and improve the quality of life. Okay, see, human beings are not machines. They have emotions, they have thoughts, they have feelings and certain needs that have to be fulfilled. So when they work in an organization, these factors come in. For example, we are working in an organization, but sometimes we are not satisfied with the working environment. Sometimes the nature of the job is very monotonous. Sometimes we are working in insecure environment. We are not having cordial relationships with the manager. We are not happy with the promotional policies of the organization. So here comes the role of industrial organizational psychology. Their main aim is to maintain peace and harmony in the organization. So what they do? They formulate effective policies for the betterment of the employees. They explain the role of rewards and incentives to the management. They try to make the job interesting by introducing techniques such as job rotation or flexible work hours. In this way, employees get the feeling of being liked or cared by the organization. This is the field of industrial organizational psychology. Next is environmental psychology. It deals with behavior in relation to the physical environment. It includes theory, research and practice aimed at making the built environment more humane and improving the human relations with natural environment. See, there is a relationship between behavior and physical environment. So this field, environmental psychology, studies effective ways of conserving the natural environment, better ways of designing towns and cities, promoting environmental awareness among people. Thus, they try to make our physical environment more humane and more environmental friendly. This is the field of environmental psychology. Next is community psychology. Its definition: it is a branch of psychology that involves the study of how individuals relate to their communities and the reciprocal effect of communities on individuals. Let's try to understand it. At times, the problems of the individual in community becomes a problem of the community. If several members of the community suffer from a particular mental disorder or social problem, then the overall health of the community suffers. These are some of the ideas that community psychologists focus on. There are a couple of ways to solve the community problem. First order change, second order change. In first order change, we try to treat the individual. Suppose a person is having some problem such as substance abuse, we try to solve it by giving him proper treatment. And second order change, it involves researching or changing the structure or system. Why and how? We explore the reasons as to why so many members of the same community are having a particular problem. When we are able to explore the reasons, we are in a position to solve it. This is how we solve the problem. This is the field of community psychology.